Welcome to The Better Life with Dr. Mariane Pinkston. Join Dr. Pinkston today as she teaches you how an integrative approach to health, combining holistic and contemporary medical information, can lead you to the better life. And now, here's your host, Dr. Mariane Pinkston.
Hello, good morning, everybody. I am so honored to be joined today by somebody who is quite an authority now on plant medicine. And oftentimes I have different shows with different local guests, but now I've got somebody international. I'm pretty proud of that. So I am joined by Jonathan DePotter, who is now in Thailand as we speak. So you get to see him relaxing and enjoying himself in Thailand, where I would like to be, actually. And welcome. I'm so glad to have you on today. How are you?
I'm really well, Dr. Pinkston. Thanks for having me. It's a real pleasure.
I'm glad to have you on. So everybody's like, well, who is this guy and what does he do? We were able to join through a program that, connects podcasts, guests and whatnot together with shows. And, something I've been interested in lately is plant medicine for self-awareness and, self-discovery, as you mentioned, and transformation. When patients are trying to open up their health and their mind to more natural ways of expanding and becoming a new version of themselves that they've always wanted to be. And plant medicine is wonderful at doing that. So you are the founder and CEO of Behold Retreats. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Awesome. Well, tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do and what we'll talk about.
Yeah, sure. So I guess to tell the story, right? It all kind of started about 5 years ago. I was working as a management and strategy consultant in Hong Kong, leading a large team, kind of typical corporate lifestyle, work hard, play hard. And I just remember one day looking myself in the mirror and thinking, there's got to be more to life. I don't know what it is. But there's got to be something else. I was actually an atheist at the time, and though I came from pretty open-minded and spiritual parents, I went completely in the other direction. I was not open to any of that sort of thinking, had a very materialistic worldview. Sure. And so in that moment, decided to take a year off, and as part of that, attended a retreat in Peru using the plant medicine ayahuasca, which you may have heard of before. And that really, for me, opened the door to spirituality and so many benefits. And so through my journey, became very motivated to help others avoid some of the mistakes that I have made over the years and get more benefits through this very powerful work.
That is absolutely amazing. So, it's not easy. I think most people who are trying to find something new for themselves, I think what you described about yourself is true for everybody. I think we are in a hard corporate world where we are just getting up and going all the time and leaving out a component of the way that we want to live and travel. We work so hard to save all this money so that we can then live and travel in our older years. It's like, how do people turn that around? I know I want to do that. I know, that's something you experience. So how do people investigate this and turn this around?
Yeah, I think, what we help a lot of our clients with is to really connect to their sense of purpose, right? Because, I think at the moment we're all living under the false illusion of scarcity, right? So there's a lot of fear that's built into all of us as a result of intergenerational trauma, as a result of scarcity thinking, as a result of the overwhelm of just trying to keep up with the everyday busyness and the mind orientation that goes alongside with that. So, for a lot of our clients, we try to start by connecting them with their sense of higher purpose. As and when we really connect with our true purpose and what unique gifts we have to give out into the world, it's really amazing to see the clients shift from that sort of fear and scarcity orientation to a more giving and more abundant, lifestyle. And, I believe now that not a single one of us is a random permutation of evolution. We're all here to give, and we've all got unique things to give. And so when people connect to that, then by definition, they wake up more energized, more abundant by virtue of the passion that they're bringing into, their everyday work.
That is so well put, because it is absolutely so true. I think most people live within the confines of, that everyday thinking scarcity, like you mentioned, but I also think rules of, the culture around them and trying to, find approval from other people and, just try to live the status quo, trying to just make it work and not, not ruffle anybody's feathers. And, it's been to where I think people are stifled in their thinking and very small. And like you say, when you open up and use a way of crossing over in a spiritual fashion, it's like a different connection to the universe and a different connection to people, with your energy and your ability to, process what people are doing and thinking and help others, define themselves in their lives a little bit better so that they can truly drop all of that, stress and motivation just to, be equal to the Joneses over here. And like I say, get to that point where they can finally relax. Nobody does that. I mean, we develop diseases and depression and die with a, somewhat healthy bank account, sometimes not. So I think it's incredible that you have, found that for yourself and now try to spread that to folks. So what, if somebody wants to inquire about what you do and all, how do they go about that?
Yeah, so what we do is a little bit different than most in that we take a more holistic approach to this work. So we really encourage clients not to just go and join us on a retreat in a beautiful place, but also to take the mental and emotional work seriously. So what we do with most of our clients is, number one, help them get very clear on future self. These powerful medicines, these experiences, they respond to intentionality. So the more deeply we anchor our belief around our ability to achieve our future self, then the more that the medicines can respond to that. The second component is that we've all got, patterns of mind and emotional blind spots that we may benefit from, becoming more aware of, and as a result of that, being able to release them or rewire some of those old habit patterns and limiting beliefs. So we really help our clients surface those pieces and also teach them tools for emotional processing. So in those moments during the work with the plant medicine, when emotions become quite amplified and some of those lower level energies come to the surface in terms of the shame, the guilt, the fear, the grief, the apathy, the anger, the pride, we've all got some of these lower level emotions stuck in our body. And so we really do quite a bit to help prepare our clients ahead of the actual plant medicine retreat. Then they come and join us in a beautiful location. We do group as well as private retreats. We tend to do most of our work in Mexico and Portugal and in Costa Rica as well. So they'll come and they'll join us for a week. They'll do 3 or 4 ceremonies over the course of that week. We'll do some yoga, some meditation, sometimes some breath work, plenty of time for resting, relaxation, some journaling. So we do pretty nice retreats. And then subsequent to that, we help them integrate the experience. So you've had these downloads, these insights, powerful breakthroughs. How is it that you're actually going to integrate that to improve the quality of everyday life so that it's not just a distant memory, but it's actually transformative in its nature?
That's incredible. So where do I sign up? It's amazing. I mean, I think, most of the time when patients come to me in the office, they'll sit down and tell me exactly what you're describing, the experiences of patients before they go through something like this. And where's my pill? What can I take? I'm depressed, I'm stressed, I don't feel well, I can't sleep. So where's my pill? And I think Americans are very, very conditioned to think that way, that there is just some magical formula pill-wise that's going to fix something chemistry-wise in their brain. They don't really realize that there's an incredible amount of experiences, from childhood all the way up that has, like you say, wired them in a way to respond certain ways to stress and conflict. But again, we do get that wired, and they don't always serve us appropriately. That's something that we have to learn to unwire and think completely different. It's, in my mind, it's not that we just need a pill to fix something inside. I think it's inside something that needs to be fixed so that we can, think and feel differently. And to me, it seems very easy. It seems very, not easy, but maybe natural, that we should be able to do that within ourselves. But, here in Texas, for instance, we are surrounded by that mindset of, conservativeness of culture and religion and things, and there's rules. There's certain things that you get up and do every day and act and see and do, and that's it. And if you don't stay within those rules, then you are, you're the free thinker is in trouble here. So if you are using more plant-based medicines and whatnot to open up people to be able to think more spiritually and change their thinking, then how does that work? I know there's an incredible amount of scientific basis going on here in the States regarding it, somewhat hidden, a little bit of a stigma against it, but what kind of science and procedures do you go through? What do you use?
Yeah, so we work predominantly with three medicines. Number one, psilocybin, also known as magic mushrooms. Number two, ayahuasca, which is a combination of two plants that are found through Central and South America. And then third, we work also with 5-MeO-DMT, which is also known as the toad. And it's recognized as 4 to 6 times more powerful even than ayahuasca. So very powerful experience. And then, in terms of the applications, there's kind of, in an overarching sense, three motivations that clients come for. Number one is healing, right? So whether it's depression, anxiety, this work can also be beneficial for people with addictive disorders. We don't do that work ourselves because it requires a certain more intensive type of container. Right. And also things like PTSD and trauma. Unfortunately, virtually all of us have early childhood trauma, whether or not we know about it. The second motivation is really around creativity, growth, and expansion, as you mentioned before. So who doesn't want to be better? So those people who are already doing well, guess what? They can actually be doing even better than that. Right. And so it's always motivating to help people go from good to great. And then the third is really spiritual in nature. So, we've got some clients that come to us that have had, 20 or 30 years meditation practice, and they're ready to go to the next level. And they know that, there's some tools here that can help them achieve that. And so it's always exciting to support those clients because they're coming with such a strong foundation to be able to get these much deeper breakthroughs, which is, not all of us out there have 20 or 30 years meditation practice under our belts, obviously.
Right. True. Yeah. Mind blown. That's really awesome. I wonder too, because you mentioned psilocybin, which is illegal here in Texas. I'm not sure about the rest of the states, honestly, but it is illegal here. But the scientific community is, even through the NIH, and you sent me some links in the NIH paper I'd read, and this is something that is being very well studied. I think there are people who definitely use it for the psychedelic purposes, and that's probably the reasoning for the legality issues. But psilocybin is a plant, and it has, basic effects that do help patients to grow spiritually and mentally. You said PTSD and mental health and all, and we are studying it, but yet it's still illegal. So how do you get it? I know it's not illegal where you are, but how do people, open up and be able to do this in the States where it is illegal?
Yeah, so there's a few things that I would say. So number one, there's a lot of grassroots decriminalization and legalization movements, and I think Oregon is the furthest progressed in terms of what they've been able to do there. And I know there's so much funding going into the research side as well. So it's virtually every week that we see, one of the leading academic institutions announce that they also are going to establish a, psychedelic research arm. So very encouraging to see the science expand. Also, I think media is playing a huge role in terms of, the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, you name it, all the major media outlets are now kind of standing in support. And also there's been some, really core influencers, whether we talk about Michael Pollan, Tim Ferriss, and people love to hate her, but also Gwyneth Paltrow. I think she's done some good things for this movement as well. And so, you can sense that there's a real convergence in terms of the momentum behind the movement towards legalization. Now, in saying that, there's a lot of, shall we say, commercial interests and forces that are interested in the old model, whereby patents are granted, and so therefore they control the molecule, and it can only be used in these contexts, and no doubt will charge, tens of thousands of dollars for something that you could grow in your backyard relatively easily. Yeah, so there's a lot of normal lobbying and interests behind that sort of motivation. And so, unfortunately, I wouldn't be surprised if it's again one of those where it'll cost $20,000 in the U.S. even once it's legalized, and it'll cost much cheaper than that to go on a retreat and a vacation to Mexico at the same time.
I'm serious. Sign me up. Sounds great. So good. No, I agree with you. I think that we are, trying in the States to make strides, and COVID helped to open up some of those lines, but unfortunately here, the extremes occurred. So you got the extremes against, and the extremes for, and neither the two shall meet in between. It is, it has become a very volatile atmosphere here. And, this is something that is natural. It's been around. I don't even know when psilocybin, all these, these plants and Ayurvedics and all these things have been around, but, centuries, millennia. It is something that is, when used appropriately and, with guidance, and that, people who understand the dosing and things like that, it is a very, very, very wonderful thing for patients to do and experience while in their life and working. And once you, from what I understand, once you, are able to experience this a couple of times, some patients don't even really need to further use the sources anymore, that they're able to do things on their own. Their mind improves, their neural pathways heal. It's just an amazing journey. I know you've seen this many times through the retreats, but it is to see people do this. Of course, they have to do it on the side and nobody knows. And it's really sad that it's something we can't, share with the rest of the world. I'm hoping that that at some point we'll be able to. We are going to take a very short break and come back on the other side and talk a little bit about how to find you in these retreats and a little bit more. So give us just a few minutes. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. Thank you for joining in today. I am talking with Jonathan DePotter, who is sitting with his feet propped up in Thailand, but working very hard. Don't misunderstand. The gentleman is very intelligent, working very hard. But CEO and founder of Behold Retreats. And we have been talking a little bit about plant medicine, trying to open up people on their consciousness and self-awareness and self-discovery and transformation, but also we mentioned a little bit about mental health and whatnot. Where are people able to find you, and tell us a little bit about the retreat, how they join in something like this?
Yeah, so we, if any of your listeners are interested, you can check us out on www.behold-retreats.com. And there's no book now button on our website. You have to speak to a real human, which is, I know it's a little old school, but that's the way we like to do things. We like,
good for you. Good for you.
We like to make sure it's that we're a fit for you and that you're a fit for us. So, that's really in everyone's highest interest, forgive the pun. And so that's how you can find us. We have beautiful retreats in the Netherlands, in Portugal, Costa Rica, Mexico, and soon we'll be opening up in Peru as well.
That is amazing. Okay, yeah, I'm booking my vacation as we speak, so very good. Would love to do it. So all of this information will be on my website as this airs, and so he has been very, very gracious to offer a 10% discount to anybody that mentions my name or the Better Life TV that you're watching and listening to. So 10% discount sounds great, and I think that would be worthwhile to do some life-changing work. Please take the time out of your life to I know everybody's so busy and maybe next year. No, this is something that I think people need to experience ASAP in order to, improve and move up more, just feel better. There's, so many people are suffering around us, and you don't have to be diagnosed with a mental disorder. It is, I think mental health is involved very much in just the stressors and the fight or flight that we're experiencing all the time. And so I love that you're doing this out there. If I have people who go on the website, you said that there's actually somebody there that will contact you and talk to you. And so about how long is it? How long will people need to book and be away, and what's it like?
Yeah, so our retreats are typically 1 week, and we encourage people to take a few days on the other end of that so that they can kind of anchor their new identity. It's very likely that you will get some big shifts during such a retreat as this. So it's nice to take a few extra days and, put your feet up on the beach somewhere and just really, really get clear on, what the future holds for your new version of yourself.
Right. It's got to be incredibly overwhelming for people to go through this. I think a lot of people here in San Antonio or anybody else, anywhere else that's watching this just can't imagine, what they would experience, to do some sort of transformation like this. What do you see when people come out on the other end? What kind of experiences and reactions do people have?
Yeah, they always say to expect the unexpected, but over and above that, I think there's certainly common themes that emerge from these experiences, right? Generally speaking, people, they might have, visions, memories from the past, relive potentially past traumatic experiences so that they can, release the associated emotions and lower level energies. But ultimately, people tend to come out of these experiences with more clarity around, ways to improve their lives. They tend to come out with more empathy, not only for themselves, but for those others around them, their loved ones, which is always amazing and beautiful, and more courage, right? Just finding that feeling of, yes, I can do it and I should do it and I will do it. And so really anchoring and getting that clarity and certainty is always beautiful to see in our clients.
It must be. And I know some patients some clients can go through some really, really difficult moments. I'm sure it's, it sounds like all, unicorns and rainbows, so to speak, but I'm sure people do go through some traumatic experiences. But like you say, it's to open a wound to heal, finally. I think those wounds are generally underneath a Band-Aid somewhere and just festering. But in opening up something like this, people, I think, can generally move on and heal from that finally, right? And no matter where you are in life and what age or sex or, whatever you're going through, I think it would be worthwhile to open those things up and finally get clarity and heal. And probably, move elsewhere. This is, what we do here in the States is not fair to ourselves. It is not a good way to live, and anything I think that can broaden our horizons and help us heal and get through it would be wonderful. So I really think people should check this out. Again, I'm going to have all this information on the website. And that 7 minutes is just about gone. Is there anything else that you would like to add to our talk today and tell people?
Yeah, I know. I'd like to just build on that final point that you made around, these being challenging experiences. Would very much encourage any listeners to make sure that they're taking their safety very seriously and making sure they're going through a high quality medical screening ahead of exploring something such as this, so that they can, have confidence that they're going to be in great hands and be well held at their most vulnerable.
Right. Well, I certainly would not have you on and talk with you today if I didn't think that this was a great idea for somebody. And I do think you have a very legitimate and safe practice that you're doing, and I applaud you. So I am absolutely thrilled that you've been on today. And I am going to give a little bit of information, though, really quickly about where you can find me here in San Antonio. So I'm at 10865 Shanefield Road, Suite 1101. And the office number is 210-698-7825. You can find all of my previous shows and this show podcasted and on YouTube. If you go to drpbetterlife.com, you can also reach me by email. I do answer general questions. I can't do specific therapies and treatments for people, but I can answer general questions. And of course, all of this information will be up on the website, and you can find Jonathan and all he is doing. It's amazing. I really appreciate you being on today and taking the time.
It's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I hope everybody has a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time.